Here we go, man. Here we go. DD year 3 on the way. Re-sign Damiris Dantas, man. Now, the thing with Dantas is, I know she performs well overseas, dominates, looks great, right? But the thing is, how are you going to perform in the W? All right, the W has the best talent.
That's the sound of a fan base divided. Some celebrating, some absolutely furious. Because the Indiana Fever just made a decision that has their entire future riding on one question: can Dantas finally translate her overseas dominance to the W? Year 3 is here, and this time there's no excuses left. But before we get into why this signing might be the Fever's biggest gamble of the offseason, we need to talk about what just dropped mid-announcement that changes everything.
I think it's fine. Yo, mid-video, they literally dropped the news about Natasha Howard gone from the Indiana Fever. Oh, man. Two-time All-Star Natasha Howard is signing with the Minnesota Lynx on a 2-year, $1.4 million deal. Dang. Are you kidding me? She's going to the Lynx? Yo, that's wild, man. Howard is returning to Minnesota, where she won a title in 2017 after starting all 44 games for the Indiana Fever last season.
Natasha Howard is gone. Two-time All-Star, defensive anchor, the veteran presence that was supposed to mentor this young core. She just signed a 2-year, $1.4 million deal with the Minnesota Lynx. That's not just a roster move, that's a statement. Howard came back to the Fever for one season, averaged 11.4 points on 55% shooting, started all 44 games, and then immediately bounced to go back to Minnesota, where she won a championship in 2017. Think about that timeline. She gave them 1 year, saw what was happening, and said, "I'm good." Now the Fever are scrambling to fill that veteran void with Dantas, a player who's dominated overseas but has never proven she can compete against the best talent in the world consistently.
So I think it might still be some space for a splash. I just have to see the numbers. Who knows? Maybe Dantas turns it up a notch and becomes a great off-the-bench player. Who knows? All right, who knows? But honestly, I saw some people talking about we need young players, and I do agree with that. But I do want y'all to understand that I believe on the floor you're gonna have 4 players who is going to run at all times. That's how I feel.
Here's the uncomfortable truth nobody wants to say out loud. If you can't translate your overseas performance to the W, it's not a system issue. It's not a coaching issue. It's a talent issue. The W has the best women's basketball players on the planet, period. Europe has great competition, but it's not the same level night in and night out. Dantas has had 2 years to figure this out. Year 3 is make or break, and the Fever just committed to her without knowing if she's figured it out. That's not team building, that's hoping. And championship teams don't build on hope.
And Sparks trade Rickea Jackson going to Chicago, Ariel Atkins going to the Sparks. Hey, they cooking, man. They are cooking. Both sides win on this one, in my opinion, although I wouldn't necessarily give up Rickea Jackson. I think she is about to turn it up another notch, seeing how she's been performing. But I'm not mad at the trade, because you're about to go crazy with the lineup that you have. Nneka, Dearica Hamby, Cameron Brink, like that front court is dangerous. All right, that front court is something serious. They lost Alleman.
But let's talk about the trade that actually makes sense. Rickea Jackson to Chicago, Ariel Atkins to the Sparks. Both teams won this trade, which almost never happens. The Sparks now have a backcourt of Kelsey Plum and Ariel Atkins, with a frontcourt featuring Nneka Ogwumike, Dearica Hamby, and Cameron Brink when she's healthy. That's a playoff team immediately. They lost Azura Stevens to free agency, but Atkins gives them exactly what they needed: elite two-way guard play who can defend multiple positions and hit clutch shots. Meanwhile, Chicago gets Rickea Jackson, who's been steadily improving and is about to break out. Pair her with Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso, and Michaela Onyenwere in the front court, and suddenly the Sky have one of the most athletic, versatile front courts in the league.
Front court, Stevens, Maddie, Rickea, Michaela. So their front court is pretty solid as well. I think Maddie is going to step up. That girl is a three-level scorer. She can facilitate with that high-low pass. She understands the game as well. So I think she's going to turn it up a notch. You have Sivka coming back. You got Cardoso. So, hey, man, that team could turn it up. That team could turn it up right now, man. So, I'm not mad at it. I think they both actually won a little bit out of this, although I would not.
Here's what Chicago is betting on. Rickea Jackson wanted a starting role, wanted to be more than a rotation piece. The Sparks couldn't guarantee that with their veteran core. Chicago can. They're building around youth and athleticism, and Jackson fits that timeline perfectly. She's 25 years old, she can guard multiple positions, she's improved her three-point shooting every single season, and she plays with the kind of intensity that championship teams need. The Sky are betting she takes the leap this year. And if she does, if Camila Cardoso develops the way everyone expects, if Angel Reese continues improving her offensive game, Chicago just went from lottery team to playoff contender in one offseason.
It did go down. Now, I do want to slide over to Gabby Williams. News about her, All-Star Gabby Williams has agreed to a multi-year deal with the Golden State Valkyries, which I figured it was going to be them or the Lynx. Valkyries made more sense though. So now you have Gabby Williams on the Valkyries. That's a perfect addition because she fits that play style perfectly, dog. She gets up and down the floor, coast to coast action. She loves it. She loves it. So the Valkyries, man, ended up landing a huge deal with Gabby. They didn't necessarily say the money there.
Now let's talk about the Golden State Valkyries, because they just pulled off the biggest coup of free agency. Gabby Williams on a multi-year deal. They didn't release the numbers, which tells you it's probably significant, but here's why this matters. Williams is exactly the type of player you build an expansion team around. She's 27 years old, in her prime, plays elite defense, can guard positions 1 through 4, runs the floor like a guard, and thrives in transition. Natalie Nakase's system is built on pace and versatility. Williams is the perfect centerpiece for that system. Add in Satu Sabali, who they already have, and the Valkyries just became a problem in year 1.
And another huge activation here is Yosite, man. Hey, shout out to her. That girl can hoop. All right, that girl can hoop. So the Valkyries, oh my goodness, man. We thought they were doing damage last year. They are about to do some damage. My goodness. I like how they look, man. I like how they look. But going back to the Fever, we have Dantas. I'm waiting to see what else they pull out of their sleeves, man. What is under your sleeves? Give it to me. Give me what else y'all have, man. I am anxious at the edge of my seat waiting. I'm like, give me what.
Think about what Golden State is building. They're not trying to compete with established teams in a half-court grind. They're building a team that's going to run you off the floor. Gabby Williams excels in transition. She makes quick decisions, she finishes at the rim, she's a willing passer, and she doesn't need the ball in her hands to impact the game. That's exactly what you need when you're building an expansion team that doesn't have a superstar yet. You need players who fit a system, who can elevate the players around them, who can defend at a high level while the offense develops. Williams checks every single box.
Right? So, y'all let me know in the comment section, how are y'all feeling about this re-sign? Do you love it? Do you not like it? How are you feeling about Gabby? How are you feeling about the trade with Rickea and Ariel Atkins? How are you feeling about these things, man? Let me know in the comment section. I love y'all. Y'all keep it smooth.
So let's circle back to where we started, the Indiana Fever. Because here's what we still don't know, the contract details. We don't know if Dantas signed for 1 year or multiple years. We don't know the salary. We don't know if this signing leaves room for another veteran addition. And that uncertainty is exactly the problem. The Fever just lost Natasha Howard, their defensive anchor and veteran leader. They brought back Dantas, a player who hasn't proven she can compete at this level consistently. And now they're hoping that Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, and Lexi Hull can carry this team while Dantas figures it out. That's a lot of pressure on a young core. Here's what makes this offseason so fascinating. Every team is making calculated bets. The Sparks are betting that veteran leadership and two-way guard play can get them back to the playoffs. Chicago is betting on youth, athleticism, and potential. Golden State is betting on system fit and pace. And Indiana is betting that their young core is good enough to overcome roster uncertainty. But only one of these bets is built on hope instead of evidence. The Sparks added a proven all-star in Ariel Atkins who's made multiple all-defensive teams. Chicago added a young player who's shown steady improvement and fits their timeline. Golden State added a versatile defender in her prime who's perfect for their system. Indiana brought back a player who hasn't figured it out yet and lost the veteran who was supposed to stabilize everything. Let's talk about what the Fever actually need. They need another veteran who can play in half-court sets when the pace slows down. They need someone who can create their own shot when the offense stagnates. They need a defensive presence who can protect the rim and allow Aaliyah Boston to play more freely. Dantas doesn't solve any of those problems. She's a transition player who struggles in half-court sets. She's not a primary shot creator. She's not a rim protector. So what exactly is she solving? The argument some people are making is that you need young legs to run with Caitlin Clark's pace. That's fair, but you also need players who can execute when that pace inevitably slows down in playoff basketball. Last season, the Fever's offense became stagnant in half-court situations. They struggled to create quality shots when teams took away the transition game. Adding another player who thrives in transition but struggles in half-court sets doesn't solve that problem, it amplifies it. Now, could Dantas prove everyone wrong? Absolutely. Year 3 is often when players figure it out. Maybe she's been working on her half-court game overseas. Maybe she's added new wrinkles to her offensive repertoire. Maybe the extra year of experience against high-level competition has prepared her for this moment. But that's a lot of maybes for a team that's trying to take the next step. Compare that to what Chicago is doing. They're building around Angel Reese and Camila Cardoso, two young bigs who can dominate the paint. They added Rikia Jackson, who gives them versatility and athleticism on the wing. They have Chennedy Carter, who can create her own shot and get buckets in isolation. They have Michaela Onyenwere, who can stretch the floor and defend. That's a balanced roster with multiple ways to score and defend. That's what championship contention looks like. Or look at the Sparks. They have Nneka Ogwumike, one of the best forwards in league history, who can still dominate in the post and hit mid-range shots. They have Dearica Hamby, who's one of the most efficient scorers in the league and crashes the offensive glass relentlessly. They have Kelsey Plum, who can get hot from 3 and create her own shot off the dribble. Now they add Ariel Atkins, who's made 3 all-defensive teams and can guard the opponent's best perimeter player every night. That's a team built to win now. The Fever had an opportunity this offseason to add that kind of proven talent. Instead, they're running it back with mostly the same roster, minus Natasha Howard, plus Dantas for year 3. That's not aggressive roster construction. That's hoping internal development is enough. And maybe it will be. Maybe Caitlin Clark takes another leap and becomes an MVP candidate. Maybe Aaliyah Boston develops a consistent three-point shot and becomes unstoppable. Maybe Lexi Hull becomes a 40% three-point shooter and spaces the floor perfectly. Maybe Kelsey Mitchell stays healthy and has a career year. Maybe Dantas finally figures it out and becomes the versatile wing they need. That's 5 maybes. Championship teams don't need 5 things to go right. They stack the deck so that even if 2 or 3 things go wrong, they're still competitive. So here's the question Fever fans need to ask. Are we building a championship contender, or are we hoping our young talent is good enough to overcome roster construction issues? Because right now, it looks like the latter. And in a league where the Las Vegas Aces exist, where the New York Liberty are stacked, where the Minnesota Lynx just added Natasha Howard to an already solid core, hoping isn't enough. The Valkyries are building the right way. The Sparks made the right move. Chicago made a smart bet on youth and potential. But Indiana, they're treading water, hoping last year's success was the foundation instead of the ceiling. And until they prove otherwise, until Dantas shows she can compete at this level consistently, until they add another proven veteran who can stabilize the roster, they're going to be stuck in that uncomfortable middle ground between playoff team and championship contender. So what do you think? Is Dantas about to prove everyone wrong in year 3? Or did the Fever just waste an offseason opportunity? Should they have gone after a proven veteran instead? And who won the Rikia Jackson-Ariel Atkins trade? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you're as conflicted about this Fever roster as I am, and subscribe because free agency is just getting started and we're covering every move. Let's see if Indiana's gamble pays off, or if they just watched their championship window start closing before it ever fully opened.